There's a big debate in tennis on who has had the highest peak level in history. Many people think it was Roger Federer in his prime years, some people think it was Rafael Nadal in 2010, and also many people think it was Novak Djokovic either in 2011 where he got that famous 42-match win streak, or in 2015 where he completed one of the greatest seasons in tennis history. So today we're gonna take a look at the prime years of Roger Federer. How good was he actually? And if it's an understatement to say that nobody has played at his level when he was in his absolute prime. If you would like to enjoy more tennis videos of this style, make sure to hit the subscribe button to know when I upload videos. We're on a quest to reach 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year, so make sure to help the cause just by hitting that red button. That said, let's begin with the video. Now let's rewind to 2003, where except Andrew Agassi, the tour was completely dominated by young players. We had Lleyton Hewitt, Ferrero, Nalbandian, Roddick, Safin, and of course our man Roger Federer. All of these were in between 20 and 23 years old. And with Sampras, who had retired the year before, there was the question, who was going to be the next world number one? And was it going to be such a dominant figure like Sampras? Well, throughout that year, it did not look like it. Every slam was won by a different player, and we had 4 different world number ones in that season. So coming into 2004, which can be considered the beginning of Roger Federer's prime, he was the Wimbledon champion and the world number 2 behind Andy Roddick. But he was not going to be the world number 2 for much longer, as at the Australian Open, he beat 4 of his biggest rivals, Lleyton Hewitt, Nalbandian, Ferrero and Safin, to clinch his second Grand Slam title and the world number 1 ranking, which would not be seen again by another player for almost 5 years. In that 2004 season, Federer lost only 4 matches outside of clay, where many consider he had one of the biggest opportunities to win at the French Open, as Nadal was not there yet, but back then obviously nobody knew that. So when at the end of 2003, there was a lot of competition to gain that number 1 spot, at the end of the 2004 season, Federer had almost double the points as the world number 2. Who was Andy Roddick. And on top of that, you had the feeling he was playing at another level. In the final of the US Open, he double-bageled Lleyton Hewitt in one of the most one-sided Grand Slam finals ever. A match that, said by Federer himself, is one of the most important in his career, as his confidence went up the roof after such a dominant performance. His next tournament in Bangkok, he bageled Roddick in the final, again demonstrating incredible dominance against a big opponent, and he then won the ATP finals, dropping only 1 set, defeating Lleyton Hewitt in the final in another dominant performance. His win-loss record of the season was 74-6, carrying a 17-match win streak to 2005. Federer decided to start his 2005 season in Doha, and things did not go bad after all. Look at how dominant his performances were there. He won the tournament without even dropping 5 games in a single set, so carrying a 22-match win streak. He was a big favorite to win the Australian Open, but although being part of one of the greatest matches there had ever been to that date, he fell to Marat Safin in an epic semi-final, 9-7 in the 5th set. So Federer would take that personally and won his next 4 tournaments leading into the clay season. A clay season in which he won Hamburg and did not drop a single set in his route to semi-finals at the French Open. A semi-final which he would lose against Rafael Nadal, who was able to win the title being only 19 years old. But with the clay season now over, again it was time for Federer to demonstrate who was the best player in the world. So why not win 33 matches in a row before losing in the final of the ATP finals? I repeat, 33 matches in a row. He won Halle, Wimbledon, Cincinnati, US Open and Bangkok back to back to back to back to back. So again, on grass and hard court, this man was playing at another level. It was difficult seeing him lose a single match. I mean, he had the best forehand in the world, one of the best serves, the best slice, the best footwork, he was the most confident. I think Andy Roddick and Marty Fish described it perfectly in the Netflix documentary. Federer during these years had a certain aura of invincible, a man that you step on court with him and you feel you're playing against a tennis god. He was making his opponents just feel helpless. You just had the feeling that he breaks the opponent's serve whenever he wants to, and once he has that break, the set is almost over. You're not going to break him back. So although losing to David Nalbandian in the ATP finals, Federer's win-loss record for the season was 81-4, as dominant as it gets. Or maybe not, because here came the 2006 season. which was not going to get any better for his opponents, as this is Federer's most dominant season ever, and the season many consider his highest level was played. So Federer that year won 3 Grand Slams, all of them except the French Open, and outside clay tournaments which were dominated by Nadal, Federer lost only 2 matches in the whole season, one to Nadal at Dubai and one to Murray at Cincinnati. So his record outside of clay in this season was 76-2. Now that is as dominant as it gets. He finished the season with one of his greatest performances ever, defeating James Blake 6-love, 6-3, 6-4 in a day that Federer's backhand was touched by the gods. A magical performance that would give Federer good mood to start the next season. A new season in which Federer's competitors were probably hoping for a dip in his level. I mean, the man has been dominating tennis for 3 years now. He surely lost a little bit of ambition, you know. It's been a long time since somebody else has been number 1. Well, his competitors would have to wait, as 2007 was another Federer-dominated season. Again, he won 3 Grand Slams, all of them except the French Open. His Australian Open tournament, by the way, is some of the highest level you will ever see. The man didn't drop a single set, and he played a memorable match against Andy Roddick in the semi-finals. Federer ended the season with a 68-9 record. He had a pair of surprising losses against Guillermo Cañas, who he lost against back-to-back. Of course, a pair of losses on clay against Nadal, a shocking loss against Filippo Volandri at Rome, a loss against Novak Djokovic, and 2 losses at the end of the season against David Nalbandian, a man that just decided to play it out of his mind in those 2 tournaments. But overall, another brilliant season by Federer, another season with very few players able to defeat him. Again, Federer finished the season with a magical performance in the ATP Finals, this time against David Ferrer, who he defeated by 6-2, 6-3, 6-2. 3 Grand Slam titles, ATP Finals champion, 8 titles overall. Yeah, not a bad season for Federer. But here came the 2008 season, the first season in which things would change. Federer started the season with a semi-final loss at the Australian Open against a young Novak Djokovic, who was getting better and better, but still, it was Federer's first Grand Slam loss on a hard court in 3 years. So although Djokovic being already a top player back then, this was considered a big upset. And losses would start to pile up for Federer, who didn't win his first title until the clay season, having losses against Murray, Fish and Roddick. Again, it was another clay season dominated by Nadal, but as in other years Federer could compete against Nadal, and they had 3 very competitive matches at the French Open, this time Nadal would completely destroy Federer at the French Open final, leaving him only 4 games in the whole match, and a match that really showed that Federer is human. The first time since Federer's prime started where Federer was completely dominated by someone in a match. And at Wimbledon, I think we already know what happened. The legendary match between Federer and Nadal in the final, which Nadal defeated Federer by 9-7 in the 5th set, ending Federer's reign at Wimbledon of 5 consecutive titles. And the next month, Nadal would also put the end to Federer's reign at the world number 1 spot. Over 4.5 years later, there was a new world number 1. 22-year-old Rafael Nadal. After that, Federer did win the US Open, and the 2009 season would be a magical one for him, as he was finally able to lift that French Open title and also regain that world number 1 spot. Is that also part of Federer's prime? I do not think so. I do think that Federer's absolute prime ended in 2007 with that awesome match against Ferrer. Now that doesn't mean that Federer's level in 2008 and 2009 was great as well, but the version of Federer that looks absolutely untouchable and is way superior to everybody else, I think we can agree that 2007 was the last taste we had of that version. Federer's record between 2004 and 2007 was of 315 wins to 24 losses, winning 11 Grand Slam titles, dominating the tour with the most elegant and fascinating style we've ever seen. A style that captivated fans all over the world and made Federer one of the biggest and most loved athletes in the world. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts. Has Prime Roger Federer got the highest peak level in tennis history? Comment down below, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel to enjoy more great tennis videos like this. And hopefully I will be seeing you guys in my next video. Peace!